Okay, so what we were talking about is we are going to go over agent financials today. As we're into October, we should start thinking about the end of the year. We're in Q4. And just a quick recap, we have a couple of people in here. We need to be doing our accounting and our paperwork every month, because at the end of the year, it's really hard to sit down and stick it all in. You're not going to remember who you talked to, when you talked to them, where you went. So getting a designated bank account is really, really important. We were just talking, Landmark Credit Union has free checking, free savings. And then if I can make a suggestion, somebody had told me, and then I have not been in trouble yet. When you get your paychecks, keep in mind there are no taxes taken out. There are no taxes taken out of your checks. So take 30%, put it in a savings account. Yeah, it grows really, really nice, and it's really, really tempting to go buy a new car with it.
I don't touch my savings.
But at the end of the year, when you have that big tax bill, I mean, you can have a $30,000 tax bill. Keep in mind, if you make $100,000, 30% is $30,000. That's a lot of money to try and scrape up and pull out of your shoes or out of your mattress at the end of the year. So take and just put that money away and leave that. There's been a lot of people, realtors especially, who've gotten in a lot of trouble because at the end of the year, you owe those taxes no matter what. So putting that into a separate account and only using your business account for all of your business things. So when you go out for coffee, when you take somebody out for coffee, use that business debit card because it goes right into that account. It's really easy to track. At the end of the month, compare it to your financial statement. Make sure it all balances out. You're ready for the next month. It's all fresh. It's easy. Going back to the end of the year, if you put everything at the end of the year, it's really hard to reconcile and figure out where things were. Another thing, do you guys have a app on your phone for mileage?
Yeah.
Yep, the Mile IQ. So Mile IQ, there's a free version, but your free version, I think, is only 20 rides a month. Yeah. Okay, so 20 rides a month obviously is not enough. Once you start getting deals, what you should do is at the end of the month, you get a statement from Mile IQ that says, let me pull mine up here. I have a listing in Oak Creek right now. It's going to be a good one this month. So I am actually going to bring up monthly summaries, and I am going to go to September. In September, I had 226 drives, totaling 1,835 miles, 1,835 miles. So my logged mileage is $636. So if you don't quite have the money yet because you're just starting, you don't have any deals yet, you can write off $636 off the top. That's a lot of money. So, but now that, you know, I'm rolling with some pretty steady closings, at the end of the month, I write out of my business account a check to myself for $636. So I pay myself back for my mileage. Does that make sense to you guys? And I am not an accountant. I'm not a tax attorney. I just hear things from my accountant. Whatever you guys do, please consult your accountant for everything. But you know, you can get your monthly reports. If anything should come back to you, just go back to your Mile IQ because everything is right here for you. Does that help everybody a little bit? So what I'm going to go through is, I actually stole this. There are so many resources out here. So this is a PowerPoint presentation, which is on KW, on the education forum. If you type in tax help, tax information, budgeting, different things will come up in different presentations. Go ahead and take a look at all these things in your spare time. It'll give you a lot of different ideas. So what I'm going to do, and those of you who've been around a while have seen this before, but it's always a good refresher. Let me get up to sharing my screen. Okay, so once again, please consult a CPA, a tax attorney, a real estate attorney when in doubt. I am none of those. I just sell real estate and try to pay less taxes. So that's where I'm at. So with your tax, and I'm just going to follow right along here. So keep in mind if you're single and your taxable income is $100,000. So keep in mind, and I'm going to put things into round numbers for you so you can kind of realize, because I know when I started real estate, I'm like, okay, how much money am I going to make? And what does that mean? So $100,000 is a little over $3 million. Okay, so 3 million times 3%, you know, if you have equal listings and buyers, is $90,000. So if you want to make $90,000, you need to sell $3 million. Does that make sense? Because I was always like, how do I make money? I know how to make money, but what does that equate to, and how do I relate that to my previous life on what I make? So my first year, my goal was 1 a month. And you guys have goals?
I have.
You're saying you have a goal, but you're shaking your head no.
Yeah, no, I want, well, we did our last quarter goal.
Yep.
With Amanda, and then our next year.
Okay.
Goal,
Awesome. So everybody should have a goal because you need to know where you're coming from and where you're going to. So my goal, my very first year was 1 a month. If I could close 1 a month, average of $300,000, because we're in Lake Country, that is the average, $300,000, because you're going to get a $100,000 condo and you're going to get a $500,000 house. So they all average to about $300,000 out here until you know, work into a different, but that's your first year. So at 1 a month, 300,000 times 12, I was at 3.6. So 3.6 million. I had 3.1, but you have to have a goal. You have to have something to shoot for. So I actually made more my first year than doing hair for 30 years. And I was good, really good. Like I was booked out months in advance, but you cap on certain things in certain industries. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So in real estate, you can make really good money and still have a life and some freedom and everything else. Okay. So every dollar you deduct from your taxable income will save you close to 50 cents in taxes. Okay. So keep in mind, always be looking at your deductibles. Okay. So your tax deductions, with your tax deductions, this includes federal income tax, self-employment taxes, and this is somebody from California, but it's 50 cents on the dollar by doing your write-offs. Okay. And if you guys have any questions, I can explain more. So a tax deduction is anything that is ordinary and necessary. So what is necessary for doing real estate? Driving. Okay. Marketing. What do you guys have in front of you? Your computer. Anything computer related, computer apps, any, we all have to buy Microsoft. Most of us have to buy a Microsoft. Write that off. And even when you write off your Microsoft, it comes with, 3 or 4 logins. Write that off because you have to have it. So it's a perk that your husband and your children get free Microsoft. Okay. What else is really important? Your phone. So you can write off your phone. You can write off your monthly bill. You can write off any phone accessories. So when you buy a charger, keep in mind that charger is work related. When you buy apps, your MileIQ, so you get 20 drives free, unless if you upgrade. When you upgrade, it's $5 a month or $60 a year. That is a write-off. Make sure you write that off, okay? Directly related to your business and in a reasonable amount. If you're buying a new $1,000 iPhone every year, maybe stretching it. If you spread it out a little bit more, and keep in mind, if it is business related and it happens to end up in the hands of somebody else in your household, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, and you have to think if it's business related. So like my daughter does my marketing stuff. I write off her phone and her monthly bill, because she does my marketing for me. She's all the stuff you guys see on Instagram and all the little goofy things on Facebook. I don't do any of that. That's all her. I pay her, but I also pay for her phone because it is related to my business. Okay, so kind of start thinking a little bit out of the box, because we have to take every tax advantage we can, because otherwise you're going to pay through the nose. Okay. A reasonable allowance for salaries, for compensation, traveling expenses, meals, lodging. So if you should, and I actually have a new tax advisor and he's blowing my mind. If you are going out of town for a business meeting, you can write all that off. So if you have not so much an LLC, but a corp, and once you guys get things rolling, you actually want to put your business under an LLC or a corporation, talk to your tax advisor and see what works best for you guys, because there are tax advantages to being under an LLC or a corp, and you can write more things off versus an individual entity. Okay, but talk to them. Do you have an LLC or a corp?
Well, my husband does this one, yeah.
Okay.
We both have LLCs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
She had it for, not for this though, but, I might look into that.
Yes.
I'm going to Arizona, meeting with a realtor down there to sell my parents' place.
Yes. You should definitely have your business under an LLC. A, you get more tax write-offs. B, an LLC is a limited liability corporation. So for liability purposes, they can't go after you personally. If you took somebody to see a house and they fell and broke their ankle, if you were showing them that house, they can come after you. If you have an LLC, they're going to go after that LLC. With your different businesses, you should have an LLC. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not a tax attorney, but you should have an LLC for every one of your entities, because then they can't cross over.
I didn't think about it for real estate, but.
Yes. So if you have, like for us, we have some rental properties, and for your rental properties, you should really have every rental property titled under a different LLC. Yeah, because if something happens at one property, they can go for all the rest of your properties. And your personal, your house, you know, so that tenant that you can't get rid of, when they do something stupid, they can go after you for that house and your personal house if it's not in a separate LLC, or this is an LLC and this is personal. So a lot of different things cross over. And then a corporation is, there's just different structures you can set up with it. Okay. Traveling expenses. So keep in mind, like we have a couple of different things set up. We're going out of town this weekend for our anniversary, but we're having a corporate meeting. So I'm writing the whole thing off. Yeah. Well, and keep in mind when we are able to do family reunion, and you know, the different conventions, you can write all of that off. So when I go out of town, as soon as I get to the airport, when I get to the airport, I get my cup of coffee or my cocktail and my lunch, I put it on my business debit card or your business credit card or whatever you have. As soon as I get to the hotel, I use that card. I use that card the whole entire time I'm gone, because that is a whole business expense. You're out of town for a convention. So at the bar, at breakfast, picking up a coffee, that's all your business expenses. Don't bring out that personal card at all, because then they track it back to your personal and they say, well, use your personal card. It's just easier if it's all in one account. Okay. Moving forward, health insurance costs. So any of your health insurance, any of your doctor's appointments, because you are an independent business person, you can write that all off. So any of your health expenses, health insurance, your car insurance, keep in mind you can write all that off through. And things change every year, so please, I'm gonna keep saying this, please talk to your tax person. So your personal computer is a operating expense. Here, only if you use it for business.
That's hard.
Exactly. It's kind of harmless. It's not deductible if you use it only to pay personal bills and play games. Okay, but we're all using it for business. If you buy something for both personal and business, you can deduct only the business portion. If you use your cell phone for business half the time, everything is intertwined. If you use your personal phone for business and personal, you can only deduct it. I don't know, when do you guys use your phone for business?
For personal, I don't ever use it for personal. Oh,
It's all business, exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, keep in mind, our business is our cell phone. So when you get up in the morning and you check your email, that's business. You get out of the shower, somebody texts you for a showing or for something, that's business. You can't really designate, okay, this hour was personal and this hour, it's just hard in our business because we don't do a 9 to 5. Yeah. Okay. I'm skipping through that because we all get it. Advertising expenses, including websites, mailing lists. We don't do newspaper advertising anymore. Flyers, online advertising, postcards, promotional materials, any logoed clothing or any logoed anything. So like for my closing gifts, I do cutting boards. My cutting boards, so what you can do is you can write off $25 for a closing gift. That's the limit. But my cutting boards, I take in and I have them engraved. Congratulations, your housing experts, the Cummings Group. So that's on every one of the cutting boards, so that's advertising. So it's 100%. So there's a little bit of a way around things. So anytime you have your logo put on anything, and Kevin was talking about Mid-City Sports, thank you, sports a minute. Mid-City Sports, they do all the logos, all the branding. Get yourself a jacket and put KW on it. Then it's 100% write-off. It's also, you're advertising yourself when you go out somewhere. If you get a jacket, a sweater for the winter, you know, to have that KW logo on it, and it looks nice too. I know in the summer, you guys have seen me, I like to wear tennis skirts and a polo shirt, even though I'm not playing tennis because A, it's really comfortable, but B, it's business-like and casual but comfortable but business-like. So I have probably 3 of those polo shirts.
Where did you get yours?
I actually bought mine at the KW store. Yeah, from when I went for the conventions. I'll usually pick them up there, but go over to Mid-City Sports, and Kevin has everything over there. And so at Mid-City Sports, they have things there, or you can bring it in. If you have a favorite jacket or sweater or something, you can bring it in and they can logo it for you. I have my cutting boards engraved, boy, I have no brain today, sorry, at in North Lake at engraving and awards, yes. Competition engraving and awards.
So how did you,
Nope, go ahead.
How do you get like the engraved here? You just send them like, your logo on it, and then they take care of it? There might be a one-time.
There's a setup fee.
Well,
yeah, there's a setup fee.
You just send them what you want.
Yep, I sent it to them in a PDF file. I think it was a PDF or PNG. They'll tell you what they need. So they have it on file. So what I do is I go on Amazon and I order 5 at a time and I drop them off and they engrave them up. When I need another one, I go on Amazon, I hit order again. I think they're 20 bucks a piece. And then it's, no, 30. They're 35 a piece. I get the nice big ones, the bamboo cutting boards. I love my bamboo cutting boards. And then with the bamboo cutting board, I put a nice little instruction, you know, I'm so excited for you. Thank you for your purchase. Please use this in your home entertaining. And then the instructions on how to take care of it, because with the bamboo cutting board, you're supposed to oil it. So I actually, where am I here? Here we go. So I do the cutting board and a bottle of champagne. If I know that they like a whiskey or something like that, I'll do that. But this way they have something that they're going to keep They have a consumable and something they're gonna keep. So a lot of people like to do a basket of food, and once that's gone, it's gone. This is gonna be in their kitchen pretty much forever. Congratulations on the purchase of your home. It's been a pleasure to work with you. As we usually hang out with like-minded people, please pass on my name to anyone looking to buy or sell a home. I would love to help them out. Please use this cutting board in your home entertaining, and here are some tips for your bamboo cutting board. And then I just changed their name, and I put purchase of home or the sale of your home. I just changed that for everyone. But then you have a standard of what you do. Yeah, I do. Yep. Bookkeeping, accounting, legal fees, that's all a write-off. So every time you write a check to the accountant, to an attorney, to anything, that's all a write-off. Business gifts, here we go, up to $25. But the way to get around that is to have it logoed, because then it's a marketing tool. Business meals and entertainment is only 50% deductible, so you may want to have a little bit more than you think. The other thing that they just got rid of, I'm not sure if it's in here, is sporting events, cab fares, Ubers, all of that's all right off. Yep. Vehicle expense, so mileage, depreciation, insurance, interest on your car loans, lease payments, license plate fees, parking expenses, tolls. I know Janine, she leases her vehicles and she just writes off the lease. And she pretty much sticks to Whitefish Bay though. Out here, we're gonna put on a little bit more miles. See how many miles you put on, because a lease will usually only cover, what, 10,000 miles a year? Okay. So yeah, so watch your mileage depending on what you're doing, depending on where your territory is. When you first start, yeah, when you first start, you're gonna run all over the place. But once you get a little bit more established and you can start focusing on an area, your mileage will come down. But like I said, Janine, every year she just goes and gets a new BMW, or every other year on her lease.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I never ever came close to my mileage ever.
Yep.
And now,
Yeah.
yeah, you trade that a little lower. We don't want to go start walking to work.
Yeah. Start getting a little more exercise. Cell phones are a deduction. Computer software, which we talked about, and your computers. Desk and office fees. So with our monthly fee, keep in mind that's a write-off also. That should be linked to your business account. So it's taken right out of that business account. So right now, if you don't have an account, it's set up on your personal. It's just hard to find things in your personal account. So like I said, if you can take even just a couple $100 just to start it, and Landmark doesn't have any minimum fees or minimum balances, and then just kind of watch that account, because it's just easier. Otherwise, that box of receipts you're going to be digging through at the end of the year going, where did that go?
So why you chose
It was free.
Fair enough.
They give you better interest rates too, usually, like their savings, yeah. And I know, I mean, I've got a couple credit unions and a couple banks I use, but Landmark I use, and they're
Yeah, somebody told me about Landmark. Our main banking that we bank with forever is Waterstone Bank, but they had some funny things on business accounts. With, you know, with, I don't know what it was. It was just some funky things. And when I looked at Landmark, I went, free, so totally free. I think it was over so many transactions you got charged for a business account. But with Landmark, everything was free. And so it's savings, and it's easy to transfer, and you can do it all, everything you do online.
you can transfer from credit union to credit union too. I saw credit union.
Okay. Hello.
You guys know Garen?
No, but I see.
The new guy.
Hi, nice to meet you, Laura. I'm Katie. You'll be a years later. I'm Garen.
Nice to meet you. So you picked up the young guy already?
Yeah, we're doing it. It's a really big paycheck to never be.
What we're doing is going over tax deductions and write-offs. And how to write things off. How are you set up on a separate account now, Mary Beth? Liar.
I have an LLC.
She did that a long time ago.
I have an LLC. My problem is, I still have my kids dancing fitness company. And the same thing.
Yeah.
So, putting them both into that, because they don't do business accounts at my credit union anymore, so it's gonna be called structuring group, but it's gonna be all.
Yeah. Yeah, check it out. We were just talking that Landmark Credit Union has free banking, even for business. So,
That's why I don't want to switch, I don't want to switch me over.
yeah. So who are you with?
Apple Tree Credit Union.
Okay.
Been with us since I was 16.
I know. It's so hard.
They're still good to me, so we need someone to share.
Yeah. So your desk and office fees are a write-off. Any education. So when you do your CE credits, make sure to take that receipt and write it off. This does not include courses you take to pass the real estate exam. I'd slide it in there and write it off.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Yeah, I think that's maybe an issue.
Yeah.
Can you email this to us? please?
Yeah, this PowerPoint, I actually took from the KW Education. I didn't make it.
Oh.
I pilfer everything. I add and subtract things, but.
Why not?
And, yep, if you put in tax document or tax presentation, and in the beginning of the slide, it goes through figuring out your goals and everything, but we're gonna be doing that in a couple of weeks, so I just skipped through that. Home office expenses. So if you do not purchase an office here and you have a designated office at home, let's say your office is 10% of your home square footage, you can write 10% off of all of your home expenses. So 10% of We Energies, 10% of your home internet. I write off all my internet at home. But anything related to your house, you can write off 10% of that of the year because you are working at home.
So I have that here. So I like to keep your 2 to 3 days a week that work.
Talk to your accountant. I'd ask your accountant because there's funny little side things and they change it every year. That's why I use an accountant because this is enough for me here. I can't keep track of all the rules and laws and what you can write off and what you can't and who's in and who's out. And so your home office expenses, if you buy a new desk, you can write that off. If you buy a bookcase, you can write that off. All of your folders, all of your papers, your copy paper for at home, pretty sure you're using, I mean, your kids aren't in school, so all of your copy paper, your ink for your printers, and this is all coming up in here too. Your insurance, so your health insurance, your E&O insurance, which is paid through our monthly fee, so that's not an extra bill. Any business liability insurance you have, business equipment insurance, auto insurance, umbrella policy, all of that's a write-off. Okay. Interest on business loans, interest paid on business credit cards. Internet access fees. So like at home, you have to have internet in order to look on your computer, to run your phone, so you can write all that off also. Map books, we don't use those anymore. Office equipment, once again, any desk, any printers at home, anything that you use, anything related to your business. Rent, cleaning and maintenance, utility, ooh, I wonder if I could write off my cleaning lady. I bet I could.
10% of your.
I didn't even think about that. Huh.
You pay a bunch of money just to clean your house, so it just happens.
It just happens to dabble around the rest of the house. Office supplies. So when you buy stamps, it's to send out letters. It's to send out cards. Okay, so keep in mind, printer, ink toner, a camera, folders, stationery, pens, anything office related. Your professional dues and fees, which is your MLS fees. So we have a big one coming up at the end of the year, with your GMAR dues and your license, make sure that you write all that off. If you belong to the Chamber of Commerce, but as Keller Williams here, we belong, you guys know that we belong to the Chamber, right? Okay, so we belong to the Heartland Chamber of Commerce. You guys can go to any chamber function. Now, it's been a weird year, but when they have their business after hours, take a look at the chamber calendar, go to those business after hours and meet people, get them in your downline to help build your business, to meet people and get out there. So all of the chamber events, if you belong to a B&I group, a Business Networking International group, if you belong to any sort of referral-based group, any business association group, all of that is a tax write-off also, okay? Referral fees, commission rebates, any retirement plan contributions. Talk to your accountant because you should be setting up a SEP or an IRA, depending on where you're at with different things. Look at your write-offs, you can write that off. Talk to your accountant. Subscriptions to professional journals. If you get, if you've upgraded to Inman Pro, you can write that off. Travel and business to conventions, we were talking about that before. As soon as I get to the airport, when I'm going to a family reunion, I bring out my business credit card and I use that the whole entire time. When it comes to mileage, see what works best for you. Like I told you, I have Mile IQ. Do you have a tracker on your phone yet for mileage? Okay. Does that automatically register your mileage?
I have to approve it, yeah.
Okay, so what you want to do is make sure that you get all your mileage, take it as a write-off, take it as a payback, whatever works best for you. Moving on. You have to have your travel records for a minimum of 3 years. With apps now, it's just easy to track and keep track of. This is all on your trackers, so we don't have to worry about this because it tracks the amount of your expense. Yep.
So does the 54 cents a mile or whatever it was, does that include like repairs and stuff, or can I still write those off for a car?
Does it include?
So like if I didn't want to change or something like that, just kind of write that off as well.
You got to talk to your accountant.
Okay.
Yeah, talk to your accountant on different things. I'm not an accountant, I'm not a tax attorney. I have an accountant because it changes every year and they weigh out what's best. I actually take my IQ and at the end of the month, it gives me a total and then the business, my LLC writes me a check for mileage every month. That's how I do it, but everybody does it a little bit different. What do you do, Maribeth?
I just have to start my account. Okay. Just, I would look for self-employed.
Yep.
58 cents a mile. And just make sure to track this morning. I don't touch anything, just automatically does.
Okay.
You said that. I never touched anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there are different programs. I like my IQ because you can categorize it. Because not 100% of everything is business. So the nice thing about my IQ is when you have an expense, you swipe left or swipe right, and it goes into a business category or personal. A couple of times a month, I just sit down.
Yeah.
And then once you get like a listing, when you go there often, it'll say, do you want to auto classify this? And then I put yes, because every time I go to Oak Creek, thank you.
Yeah.
Then I go to Oak Creek and can just automatically. Oak Creek is a nice write-off though.
I know. We got really good senior guys there.
Do they? Mine's right by IKEA. They haven't been here yet. That one.
I don't know, you'll have to let me know when they have a condo coming up that way.
Where?
A Racine, she's like, sorry, a Racine.
She has buyers who think they want to be in Racine. Okay. I'm going to skip right through this because, okay. Treating your clients well. Make sure to save all your receipts. Because you should be going out for coffees, you should be going out for lunches, save those receipts, dinners, save those receipts, they're 50% deductible. Because they're 50% deductible, you may want a little more than you need. What do you got, Katie? You look confused.
I'm gonna set it up, sorry.
Okay. See, and I use QuickBooks, but I don't have the mileage set up. Maybe I'll have to talk to one of you guys
Yeah,
and see how it works. I know I can take Mile IQ and ship it into QuickBooks.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm only smart enough to get by on a lot of things. Other than that, I use the resources because you can't be good at everything. So if you have questions or need people to do things for you, by all means have somebody do things for you. The CEO of a large company, they don't clean the floors, nor do they do their own accounting. So keep in mind, there are people that do things that are really good at it. Pay them to do it. So here's where it gets interesting with meals. To receive the full deduction, show that the entertainment was a part of your active conduct of business. You talked about business during the event and had more than a general expectation of getting business from that meeting. Well, I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to a party, you're talking business. Everybody asks you, are there any houses for sale on the lake? What about this? Who sold that? And what did so-and-so sell their house for? It was at Bunko last night. It all relates back to business. So keep all of your receipts with things.
Doesn't make sure it does.
I have been known to have parties at my house and all we do is talk about business. That's a pretty good discount liquor bill. A meeting or a discussion at a nightclub, a theater, a sporting event, a hunting or a fishing trip, or aboard a yacht are not considered write-offs, but talk to your accountant and see what you can do.
She's gonna say,
How do they know that
right off their yachts plus everything they do on there?
Well, and here's one of those things too. Are you writing it off as a personal business expense? Are you writing it off under your LLC? Or are you writing it off under a corporation? Because under a personal business expense, you can't write any of this off. During an LLC, or with an LLC, there are some things, but a corporation, you can write all this off. So look at your structure of your business to see how it's set up and what you can write off. Talk to your accountant because they know all that stuff. And there are ways to set things up through an LLC, through a corporation with different stuff. I don't know it all, but I know that they do things with our stuff. It is what it is. Okay. If it's a social gathering as a cocktail party, this is where I get all my business. They're saying you can't write it off, but this is where I get all of my business. And we were talking, in March and April and May, I had like my 3 worst months because I couldn't go out. That's where I get all my business. I dial for dollars and it killed me. I did drink. I still drink.
My whole cocktail party.
Well, people work in different ways. There are some people who can just sit on that phone and just keep dialing and dialing and dialing. And I called all my friends and I called all my past clients, but it's just not my gig. I called to see how they were doing and I tried to make it genuine. I mean, I am genuine. But I am genuine. But it was hard. But now that I'm out and about, you just see people and then they call you the next day, they're like, my mom, we need to sell my mom's house. We need to sell my aunt's house. And I saw them the night before.
It's just much more real too. Yeah.
It's more real to me.
Me too. And it's just warmer.
Mhm. Have you guys heard of Jim Geraci?
Yeah.
Jim Geraci has been in the real estate business for 30 plus years. And he sits down every single day to this day. My husband used to work with him 30 years for real estate executives. Okay? Back then, he sat on the phone for 2 hours every single day. Back then, with the phone book. Dial, 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 dial. 2 hours every single day.
There's people at Southwest office that do that,
Yes.
especially the physical people in the morning.
Yeah. And people do it and they're very successful, but they're very successful. So find what works for you and maybe a little bit of both. You know, maybe a little bit of both, maybe a little cocktail party. So when it says, yeah, when it says you can't write off, you know, cocktail party, that's where I get my business. Not business associates. Well, in our business, you're always looking for business. So at the golf club, you're going to go golfing with somebody and talk business. Athletic clubs or vacation resorts. Tax deductions. So this just explains whether it is a business meeting or not. I'm just going to skip through it. It's exceptions to the 50% limit. If you're promoting goodwill in the community, you can write off 100%. So if you're having a client appreciation, you can write off 100% of that. You know, a barbecue, you know, your food drive. But if you have a party somewhere, and there are a lot of agents who do that, they have a client appreciation. I know Salés will rent out a movie theater and invite all their clients to the movie theater and pay for their movie tickets and popcorn and sodas for everybody who comes. That's 100% write-off, yeah. And they do it as a client appreciation. If you have a backdoor barbecue and invite all your clients, it's a write-off. So you can do events and write those things off also. Okay, so that's where we are with, you know, your tax deductions. Do you guys have questions on things?
I can't find it.
Didn't you put it on Facebook? This, at one point?
So I'm in KW, right, Connect,
Yep, KW Connect.
and I went to education, and then I searched tax deductions.
I can't find it either right
Okay.
now. So I thought maybe put it on Facebook, but I don't see it there either.
Who all wants it? I'll send it to you. Mary Beth.
Carol is too.
Bethany.
Thank you.
Kate,
It's just
what's your email, Katie?
Katie.Miller.
T-I or Y?
T-I-E. M-U-E-L-L-E-R.
There you are. At HOR? www.com. Okay. And what's your email? What's your email, Laura? Laura. There you are.
How do you spell that?
Trocazette, T-R-O-K-A. And then it was this long.
Yeah.
I was like, I think my email was like, come to this line, I kept typing it.
Say your last name.
Trocazette. It's a hyphen, yeah. When I got rid of your email, because as I was pretty much walking down the aisle, my son was like, we do belong in Mexico, but we got married here first, just a small wedding with our pastor. My son was like, oh, we don't really discuss that. He says, what's your name? And what are your kids' names? So he said, well, if I get to keep focus, you're still part of me. So then I was reading, but he also, my oldest son also said, if I get to keep I can't wait until they're go back to just what it was confusing. I also didn't want them going to school. I think they were grade school.
Okay. I just sent it over to you guys. Like I said, in the beginning of the PowerPoint, is figuring out your goals and creating your business budget. I know that we'll be going over that in a couple of weeks with Maureen, and she does a great job. It's a little confusing at first, but it's great to set your budget and your goals and get that all figured out. But this will give you guys a little bit something to, you know, to jump in with and keep in mind. Definitely get that business account. It's number one importance to keep everything straight and throw everything in there. Any more questions about anything?
Is the thing with Maureen is that during the Ignite that she's doing?
No,
It's separate.
Yeah, no, it's separate.
Is it the same day though, the 29th?
I'm not sure.
I thought I put down the 29th, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll look at it.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see.
Oh, the Ignite is not on Thursday.
Business planning with Maureen was the 29th.
29th, that's
Okay.
right. Ignite is
What
not
time is
Thursday.
it though? Is it, okay, I don't know. I just wrote down.
On the 29th, yeah, make sure that you guys are at it.
Is it really good during this class time, the 29th of August?
A lot of times she likes to do 10 o'clock.
Okay, so it's after this.
Yeah, she usually likes to do 10 o'clock.
Is it live?
Yep.
She's here.
Yep, she'll come here, she'll have a little packet for everybody to figure out what you want to make, how many deals you have to close, how many appointments you have to go on in order to, you know, get your end result. Yeah,